If you are watching these videos and doing one thing after another in one class period, remember to always save in between tutorials. Just go up to File and Save, or as you can see, Control S. By the way, if you ever forget to save, or when you're doing something you totally lose a project, it's not the end of the world. Hopefully, you'll be able to go and get an auto-saved version. So if you were down here, here's where we've stored our projects and scenes. We'll go up a level, and you'll see amongst those many folders that Max put in is AutoBack. Open up AutoBack, and you'll see that there are various versions. Here's the date, and here's the time. So I could select my most recent version if I needed to get a backup. Okay, back to our project. So we've made an interior scene. Now let's make a few things to put into it. We're going to start in our perspective view by creating a table. In the Create tab, go to the box and drag out a box. Let's go to the Modify tab, and in doing so, we'll automatically stop making new tables. Let's change the color of our box. Oh, a medium brown would be nice. And I'm going to change the parameters of it. Let's make our box, 6 feet long, 3 feet wide, and about 3, so 3, shift, quotation marks, 3 inches tall. Alrighty, and so now we're going to make it, let's see here, to our Move Object tool. We're going to put it about 3 feet off the ground. So down here, in our Z-axis, we can put in 3, and that'll make it 3 feet off the ground. Alright, all good. So we've got our table, and we've got it 6 feet long and 3 feet wide and 3 inches high. But what can we do with it? We can either select it or not select it at this point. So what we want to do is we want to divide it up and give it segments. Over here, underneath the parameters, you'll see the segments. Let's give it a length of, let's say, 24. That's 4 times 6. 24 segments. Now it seems like nothing's happened. That's not quite the case, but we can't see what's happening. So we're going to have to change our view a little bit. Going to the default shading, drop-down menu, go to Display Selected. You'll see Display Selected with Edge Faces. Now when we click it, we'll see the segments. These are all dividers of our object. And we can cut it up and do different things with these different segments. Okay, for width segments, once again we'll go with about 4 times as many, so that would be 12. 3 times 4 is 12. For height segments, we won't need any more height segments, so we'll just leave that at 1. We still can't do anything with it. So what we have to do is we need to make it editable. We have to turn it from a primitive or parametric object, an object with parameters, to an editable object. You do so by working in this stack, right-click, changing it to Editable Mesh. Now you'll see that the parameters down here have changed and become much more complicated. That's okay. So Here you'll see that we've got vertices. So those are the dots that make up the object. And with each vertice, you can select a vertice and you can move it. You can select multiple vertices. Now be careful, if I was to just drag and draw a marquee, I could very easily end up moving on objects when I'm trying to drag. So selecting objects is often better done with your select tool. Remember, that's my save tool. I can really get in very little trouble using my save tool. Another way of selecting multiple things is to use the control key. So let's say I click on one thing, hold down the control key, and select on another, possibly even another, and another. If I want to deselect something, I can hold down the Alt key. Next to the vertices, I have my edges. Click on the edges, and that's the space between vertices. Next are faces. And those are the faces, it's mathematically dissecting a polygon. Okay, this square right here is known as a polygon. And then we have, in fact, polygons. Next to polygons, we have elements. Element will select the whole thing, the whole object. If you look up here in the stack, you can see that it's got this triangle. If you click on the triangle, you get a drop down. In here, as you can see, elements is selected, and elements is also selected down here. Polygons, now the polygon is selected. So it's the same thing. The advantage of this is if you were working, let's say, somewhere down here, you wouldn't have to come over, slide all the way up in order to just do something else. Notice that it holds your selection. So here, 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 etc. All right. So, okay, let's turn this block into a table. All right, let's go down underneath and, oh, wait a minute. It's hard to get to underneath my table because the floor is in the way. Now, of course, I could just turn off the floor right here. But let me show you something else. What you can do when you're working on something is you can isolate it. So with the object selected, I can just go down here. We have the isolate toggle. And you can see the room is no longer there. Well, it is. It's just become invisible in the same way as if you had clicked everything off over here. If I hit it again, then it's going to come back. All right, with our table isolated, let's go over to the bottom of it. Let's say I want to make some table legs. What I can do is I can select the polygon and Control, select, so just hold down the Control key. All the corners, just one row in. What I could do then is I could just pull down and extrude that out. But you can see it's misshaping the table. That might be fine, but maybe I want it to be a cleaner pull down. What you can do is go down here to extrude. This is in the geometry roll down. By the way, when you have these whole bunch of parameters down here, they're in sections. They call it a rollout because when you click, well, rolls it out. And you get all the different things you can do with it. Once again, this is just in the geometry, edit geometry rollout, and over here to extrude. Now, if I've clicked on the extrude, what I can do is when my cursor goes over an area that I can extrude, I can just click on that, holding my left key, and I can extrude out. Each time I do that, it's going to create a new segment. That might be fine. That might be exactly what I want to do. There is a more precise way of doing it though. Here I'm going to go to my undo key. Right next to the extrude is a place where you can put in the exact amount. So here I'll just say, okay, 3, click on it, and I'll get exactly 3 feet. In my isolation, and you can see I now have a table. Very simple, but very effective. So we made an object by making it editable and by extruding. Now let me show you how to make some chairs for this table by combining objects. Remember to save.